Hey everybody, my name is Chad. For those of you that don't know me, I make these videos to help everyone understand IO. I do not work for IO at all, but I'm always happy to help people figure it out because I've learned the more I help other people out, the more I learn as well, and we can all grow together, is kind of how I think about it. I've met some amazing people by doing this, and I hope to meet more of you. So anyway, this video is going to be more about the optional fields and what they can do for you. This is one of two major areas I think that allows IO to be very customizable to your business. And I'm not sure, but I imagine most people don't know much about them, how to use them, and all the things you can do with them. And so this is going to be a quick overview, maybe quick, we'll see. So this is the optional fields deal as you're adding one. Tim, if you're watching this, I think you should move this to the top. So, because people work their way down, and if they go here and select this and think, oh, wait, I don't want that, I want this, then all of a sudden they have default text, it doesn't matter. So, just my 2 cents. But anyway, so we're going to start up here. The name of the field is what's going to display to you and or the customer, depending on where you have it placed. So let's just say you want to ask the customer what their delivery window preference is. So you may say delivery window preference or window delivery preference. Something probably a lot more customer friendly sounding than that. I don't know. I'm not good at that stuff. I usually have to ask ChatGPT to clean it up, but so you would just type in this is now going to display you to customers or you and you on the back end. So that's going to be the name of your field. It, the next thing you want to do is you want to choose the type of field that you're using. So it gives you a ton of options. The checkbox apparently used to be the most common option, and you could do a lot more with the checkbox than you could a lot of these other ones, but that's no longer the case since they've added their new like filters for their promotions and stuff like that. But uh, so that they still have as the default. I don't use a checkbox very often. I prefer a select yes or no. But you have the checkbox option, so you know that's pretty simple. You can set whether it's checked or unchecked. Small text is just a small box. It's very similar to this right here. Not very much you can customize with it, but it's just a place where you could add for additional information. An example I have is in my in my quote request page. I ask people for special instructions. So I have like a special instructions field and just a small text I can add in. Um, that's because I just need them to type stuff. Not a big deal. Now you have a large text, which acts like a small text in general by default, but if you click allow HTML, then you can then add HTML to it. That's not as helpful to me, in my understanding, from the checkout page, but it can be in other areas. So I do this in some other areas. So we'll show examples. Yeah, the date example, this could be used if you're asking people what their kid's birthday is, so then they can choose a kid's birthday, then you can use that for remarketing and stuff. Select, this give them multiple choices, and then they can one of them. If you want one of them to be a default, you can add that in there. A note is like additional notes in your lead page. And so it's just a note field, very similar to the small text. I don't really know what the difference between this and small text is, except that maybe this creates a tab on your optional fields page, but I'm not real positive. So then you have a phone number. So this would be helpful if you have like an on-site phone number. It used to be more so. Not with this recent update. They now have additional contacts with on-site, so you could do use that instead. So those are the different fields. Now let's look at where we can place them. They give you several places that you can do them. Some of them are kind of confusing in what they are. Most of them are not. So we have this whole list, and pretty self-explanatory. The one that's most confusing is this leads customers one. So when you put it on the leads customer, it gives you the display sections. Okay, so this is going to be an optional field that shows in both the lead page and the customer page. That's the idea of it. How it interacts with filters and stuff like that is kind of wonky, and so you have to be kind of careful what you do, but this is the first place I go if I want an optional field to stay with customer, not just their lead. But I may want it to show on the lead. If I want it to just be on the customer field, then I just put it in this one and put it in the same spots. This section is directly related to the tabs on the side. So if you're in a lead, it's these tabs down here that you can apply them to. If you're on a customer profile, then it's where they allow you to put optional fields at. So that I hope that gives you a good idea of the leads or the. See, these are all the areas you can put them, put the optional fields. Tons of uses. Okay, so now we come down here to like inventory, and you can select where you want it. Default is extra details, but you can put it anywhere you want that is relevant to it. And then you can add. Oh, this is a great one. In the inventory one, they also have special fields, and these special fields give you like if you want to add alt text to your images, you can do it within IO instead of having to go through some coding and everything. You just put it in here. Same thing like page and meta descriptions. You can add that stuff in, and then use the variables in a ton of different places. All right, so let's get some examples of what kinds we have here. So everyone's familiar with the accidental damage waiver. This is one that I believe I built this one myself, because it was before they released their new one, their new deal in the promos and fees where you can do your own deal, and it creates your own optional fields. It creates the optional field and everything for you. So, if you come here, you add accidental damage waiver, it'll create the optional field and everything for you. Damage waiver filter, all that for you. I don't need that because I already had one made, and these different filters. Pretty fantastic setup. That's if you want to do additional or whatever, the accidental damage waiver, that's the way to go. But here I have a bounce houses and chairs, and here's where I'm using these at. This is an example. Let's go into inventory. These are less common used ones, I think. So as you see here, I have a product image alt text, alt 1, image 1 alt text. So I can add that in if I want to. Now I'm down to, see what, you'll see I have a bunch of stuff in my inventory one. That's why I'm going to start here. So what I have is I have these check boxes. Like I said, I don't use check boxes very often, but I do for this case. And the reason I have this set up is I'm working on a inventory item page where it lists all the inventory, and they have a filter option where people can choose bounce houses. They choose bounce houses and submit, and it'll only show the bounce houses, and it's all on one page. They don't have to navigate all over the website. They can just stay on the one page, choose the items they want to see. So this is what I'm using to do that with. So how I set that up is So we create the option field bounce house. It's basically a category that I'm doing. That's how I'm doing it right now by category, but I'm thinking through it, so it's not live yet. It's a checkbox. It's not on by default. I don't want to accidentally put something in a category that's not supposed to be. It's an inventory. I have it set for extra details. It's not a special field of any kind. And then filterable. Filterable makes it so that widget, the filter widget in Elementor will pick up this um, optional field. Sorry, I'm going to draw blanks. It'll pick up the optional fields. So I can checkbox these, anything that this applies to. So let's say this one's tense. And now anytime it uses that filter widget and they click tense, this one will pop up and populate inside it. Dave Barnes has a version of this. It seems like it's really neat. I haven't. IO has this one. I thought I'd play with it, but I'll probably end up maybe looking at getting the one from Dave Barnes. But this is what I'm doing now. The other ones I use that are inventory related, I don't really use this one yet as a product item number. I'll probably delete that and not use it at all because I don't really do item numbers. I was going to, but I think the item number, we're rethinking how that all works. The item location, if you have a large enough warehouse and you have spots that you put all your inflatables in, you can number them or however you want to do it, and then you can put the number in here, and then it shows up on packing lists and wherever you want it to show up at. The short description, this is my way of showing. Let's go to my website here. Pick something. This is what I have in my short descriptions. So I know a lot of you guys go in and you put it in your product descriptions, which I don't have one for this one yet because it's too new. Or you put it somewhere else so it's the same stuff on everything. I like my short descriptions to be relevant to the item that they're looking at. And so I have like all combos get the same, all slides get the same, all obstacles get the same, but not any one of those categories are the same as the other. So this gives me the freedom to put in here whatever I need that's relevant to the customer. And then we take I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. These are just examples of ones I have set up. And then contract notes. I don't use this very often, but on very occasions, I will put in I need something to show up on a contract that for some reason is an accessory, and because of the loops it doesn't, or how many tiers down and as an accessory it doesn't show up, so I'll use this to show up on a contract I want it to. I believe I have this one here, show conditional pricing. I used to have a table that would say, for 6 hours was this price, for overnight was this price, and for a weekend long was this price. And this would tell the software, tell WordPress, whether it should show that table or whether it should show the flat price of $5 an hour. Because Mechanical Bull, I'm not renting for overnight or for a whole weekend. It's only for a set number of hours and everything. So I don't want to show that table on it. So I would use this to turn that table on and off. I don't really use that anymore. I've changed my pricing structure, and iOS released a lot of other features since that this is not necessary. So let's go back over to optional fields. All right, so we have a customer type one. So this is a default that the IO put in, so you can set a default customer type. I'm going to change that. I use this for marketing purposes. I want to send it residential relevant emails to residentials, not everybody. So that's what I use customer type for. Um, we used to call dig right, and so I had some stuff like this. Since not really allowed to, we can, but it costs us like $400 to do. So now I just have the customer do it and whatever. Um, I have an employee discount. That's in my leads page. You'll see I have some optional fields here. Employee discounts. You'll notice this one is one of the leads customers. So it shows up on both the leads page and the customer page, but I want it to display in the customer section. So that is the leads page, customer section, employee discount. My employees get free rentals as long as they're willing to do the work themselves and not get paid. Then, then I don't charge them anything. So if a employee wants one, this is how I mark it. I create a lead and mark it as a yes. It discounts down. I probably shouldn't do that for sales reasons wise, but that's what I'm doing currently. I'll maybe change it. We have a preferred contact method. And this one allows the customer on checkouts and different form pages. They can choose how they prefer us to contact them. We love that one. That's one of my new favorite ones. Probably a must-have. And that way we're contacting the customer the way they want to be contacted. Another one we have is hold harmless. If I fill this in, it changes on my contract. If it's not filled in, then the contract has a default setting. So I love that one too. That's been a fantastic add to our optional fields. Some other optional fields we have are, this is my special instruction one. This one is the customer fills this out. If it says anything but IE, then the customer did it. And we try to pay attention to that so that we make sure that we get our needs. A lot of times it's like free information, like they only want us to do whatever, and so that's where we get that. We do an accidental damage waiver. They can check on. Whenever someone needs a proof of workers' comp, we can change these here. And whenever we change them, it triggers automations based on these that sends information to the relevant insurance agent so that they can send our COIs and stuff. This is not one that is on the lead page. And let me show you how to do that. So after you create these, save and close it, you're given more options. And it asks you if you want to be shown on these quote pages or quote request pages. These are checkouts. Quote request, checkout. That's what the difference is. So if you don't check any of these, it'll show up on the back end, but not to the customer. I don't want I don't want every single customer telling me they want proof that I have insurance. They can ask me. We tell them online that they can do it. We don't need to send every single person. So that's prevent it. But I also know that I'm not great at remembering to send the COI request. So I know that if during taking the order, if I just click yes, it'll send the information. And the way I have it set up here is who is named additional insured. If this stays formatted just like this, then where it's got blanks and everything, then the insurance agent will get the customer information here. If this information is filled out in any way, then it will send this field instead of this information. Pretty awesome setup, no confusion. The right people get the right information and everything. So then if you come down to the optional field section, these are ones we don't use as often. Whenever we do larger jobs, we try to go get or ask for site maps of where they want everything set up, or we will go draw them up. And so if there is one, we'll change it to use, and then that triggers the packing list to um, display the images and everything, so that our team knows what to look for. If we take a phone call and someone wants, like here today, we had someone wanted 600 chairs. I don't have 600 chairs, so I would typically go up, put 600 chairs in my um, rental. I would add this as inventory limits is the reason I lost it, and then change it to a lost status. Now I can create a report as jobs, and then make educated reasons as to what to do next to not lose those jobs if they're even worth not doing. We have the private notes. That's just the one default. We just changed the name from additional notes to private notes. Private notes only show up to employee facing items. So it's not on the contract. It's not on packing lists or anything. Well, specific packing lists is not. And then, and so we don't want the customer seeing this at all. The dig right is when every time dig right does the confirmation, we post it here. We don't use that anymore. We just started using the journal entries more. Um, and then if there's other notes as to why we lost something, um, then we can add the additional notes there. You also see dig right scheduled for. This is an example of a date one, and we can go through and put a date in. Hey, we know dig right's coming out on this day. Um, um, or before this date is really what it is. And then that way we know when we sub out our tens or something, we can tell them, yeah, we have it scheduled. It's before this. Um, that's pretty much optional fields. Let's see what other. The inventory one and the leads are my favorite ones. I'm gonna. My other ones I use often is in my workers. I don't know if many people use these. I'm sure if they let me do too much. So IO is my central hub of software. I don't like using more than I have to, and so I try to do everything in it. And whatever I can't do, I'll do some in other software. But this is my go-to first. So the first thing is my team members. That's funny. I asked them to sign photo video waivers so that I can use their photos and everything in advertising materials. When they sign it, I can know whether they signed it or not. Whenever they started, I have a start date. I know a lot of our payroll software and stuff, we entered it there, but now I don't have to go look at the software. I can do this. I can also create automations to remind me when people's start dates are so that I can be sure to tell them happy anniversary or whatever the case is. So these are some of those things. Team member, if I let someone go, then I know the last day that I had them work. Team member received. We have policy manuals that we send out, so I know whether I've given it to them, whether I've gotten a signature that they got it back, and all that stuff. We track that. Whenever they've passed their tent installation test, then we track when they did that because we got to do that like every 3 years. And then team member notes. Now these notes are different from these notes, and I can't remember exactly which one I use. All right, the team member notes. I don't really use this. This was for like my managers to be able to write stuff down for me to know. And this one here was for me to write stuff down. So like anytime I did a pay raise, I wrote down the date and how much I gave them or bumped them up to. If I had to reprimand somebody because they were doing something wrong, I'd write it down. This way I keep track of how often I'm having to get onto somebody about something they're doing, so I know whether it's a continued problem and if I need to deal with it or if it's like a one-off and that's it. But I deal with that in notes like this. So if it's something I don't mind my managers knowing, I put it up here. If it's something I don't want them knowing, I put it down here. And I think that's all I use on workers. Let me see if I can think. Oh, I don't need that one. We have some that are vendor notes. Those are also in the leads. I didn't see that. And then that way, if there's a specific note I need a vendor to know, then that note goes to the PO and emails and texts and stuff to them. And that's pretty much the only ones I use. I don't have very many, if any, that I use for other than that. Um, so that's the gist of optional fields. So now let's look into how to arrange them. So optional fields can be done everywhere. You don't want you sometimes you want them in specific orders so that you don't miss them or something. You can go to settings, display order, and then depending on the different areas, you have all these here: optional fields and leads, inventory, leads and customers and workers. So you just open up one of these, and then you select the section that those optional fields are in, and you can put them in whatever order you need to do that makes sense to you. Um, so we got all these here. And so that's where you arrange them. Now, let's do if you want to apply a fee to something. Okay, so let's say you want to apply a fee to, um, I'm going to give you an example for applying fees. I'm going to go optional fields. We're going to say delivery window. I like to do souls. And I'll do 48 hours. Um, I don't do this, so I don't really know. So I like to put this, and since it's something I'm going to put everywhere, and I want it obvious, I put it in the rentals, so it's underneath it. We're going to save close. Type in one of the words things in there. Now you're seeing these options. You can check these to add it to the page. I'm not going to do that because I don't really need it to go live. Um, and then if you have a fee, you cannot choose add a fee here. This is not how you would do it, okay? Because if you do it here, um, oh, you could do it here probably. Let's test it. You have to do a filter. So you can do a filter and say, um, whatever you want the fee to be called. Or it doesn't matter as long as it's tied to it. The fee doesn't matter. So we're going to say find the optional field. If it contains 1 hour, I don't know if that's going to be right. If it contains 1 hour, then this filter is going to capture it. I'm going to do this so I can find it easier later. Then you go to settings and promotions. And fees. Add fee. You're going to say this is the name of this is going to have to be whatever you want the customer to see. So so you're going to say call it a fee. We're going to use the A1 window fee. However much you want it to be, 50. We'll call it a $50 fee. It applies to everything. Save and close. I'm going to try something here. Interesting. Yeah. So you have to do it here. So the reason that you have to do it there is because it's select. So you can't, if you select here, you can choose the fee, but it's going to apply, it won't apply when you want it. Don't ever choose it here on a select for sure. A checkbox you can, because it's either going to charge it or not charge it. Now, if we go to a lead, where's your, so if I go and say within, if I got my filter right, so you see my one fee, $50. You probably want to call it. That's the gist of it. 1 hour, you got $50 populated. It's have to save so that it read this selected, and then there you go. So that's how you would have to use it to find the fees. You know, you do filters. And if you type in a field name, so whatever the question is, and then whatever you want. If you get to create one fee and one filter for each of your selections. So if you want to do like a 48 hours is no fee, then you would just say don't do anything and nothing will happen. And then say you do same day, you want to charge 25 hours, you just create a separate one that says 24-hour window fee when this whatever contains 20 or same day. Then it'll charge the same day delivery fee. All right, and the last thing you want to know is where and how you place optional fields. Aside from being able to put them on the quote forms through the checkboxes, another way to do that is going to be with these template variables. Now, they're not very easy to like highlight right here, so you have to open them. And so let's go into my shortcode. We'll just do my product shortcode. So you open the product shortcode. This is what I want to display on my. I'm going to show you this one, and this is. I'm not going to show you this one yet. Let's start with something easier. Okay, packing list stuff. So, let's say the product location. I use that one. I want this to show up on my packing list. I got to open it. I'm copy and paste it. Copy it. I mean. And then go to my packing list templates, open the template you want, go to the location that you want to add it to, like this one here, and then you just paste it. Probably do Control Shift V will paste it without pasting all the other additional formatting. Again, to paste it without to paste the value only, you do Control Shift V. We'll paste the value only. You can paste it wherever you want in the deal. And as you see, I've got all these different template variables all throughout built for that deal. So I need. If you want to place it other places that I would place something like that is the packing list is the main thing because that's what people are going off of. But it could be your vehicle packing list. So you can come in here, and then you have the field is listed right here, so that the rental name, the quantity, what rental it is, whatever the rental, and then this. So they are loading up, they can find it pretty easy. That's how you paste the optional fields. The more advanced way is you're still going to do the same type of thing in terms of getting the template variable. Say the short description. Product, short description. You're going to copy and paste it. Copy this, and then you have to go to your website. So you're going to go to your admin page. And this is where you get really messed up, so I caution you very much so to not just go in willy-nilly and do this, although you can fix it if you mess it up. So don't be afraid, just know that you got to be careful. You're going to come down here to Inflatable Office and then Short Coder. Now this is a rental optional field, so I'm going to come down here to this bottom bar. I'm going to look for IO rental. Don't worry about the ones that have the dates, like this one says old 9 from 2022. I don't know why it's there. This is the one that you want to look at every time. When you do it, it pulls in all this information. This is where it gets really hard. You have to sit here and read through to try to figure out where it's at. So this right here is an image. It's the image 1. So I'm going to keep going down. Here's the image thumb box. These are the smaller images. I don't know what an info box is. Right here is the rental name. You have a bunch of other information, the reviews that are for the item, and the star rating. And then here, this is where mine's at, apparently. So if you want to place it in the same place mine is, then what you're going to do is you're going to look for, you can do Control F and just do required for pricing. That way it comes up here. You'll have one of 3, so you just click one. One's there. That's 3. 1 is right there. After this div, so you'll required for pricing, a P, that slash means it's closing the paragraph. That slash means it's closing the div. You can then put a new div, okay? And it's to make it easy to find. I called mine div class short description. You put the underline because if you put a space, it's short is one class and description is another. So just put short description like that, and then you paste your variable in here, and then you close the div out. So make sure you put that slash in there. And it's right above IO all prices. So you could also do that right above the prices. You update the short code. I'm not updating because I'm not changing anything. And then you can go to your web page and test it out. Boom, it's right there. If you mess it up, so say you come here and all sorts of jacked up, you can then come back to Inflatable Office, Short Coder, IO rental, check this box, update it, and it'll go back to the most recent IO that they have. If you already have changes inside here, then I would recommend you copy and paste this entire code block and put it in a notepad file. And then if you mess it up, you can just paste that notepad file back in here. But that is how you place it in here and on packing lists and other IO related places. That's the gist of how to do all that. If you have any questions or ideas, I'd be more than happy to hear them and see it. Otherwise, I'll see you the next time. Have fun with optional fields, and we'll get more into some other stuff. But that is a very good window of things you can do with optional fields that I think a lot of people are not using to their full potential.